have Griff in studio on a game day, and the game is a long way from here, Griff. What are you doing here right now?
You know what? I have to be around because I'm about to have a baby. My girlfriend's about to have a baby. Not me having a baby.
Not you.
My girlfriend's about to have a baby, and you know, and you know what? That's the great thing is working with a guy that understands it. Like, you know, Coach Autry, I went into him and I said, hey, Coach, she's going to have this procedure done here on Monday, and it could be day to day. But I want to come to Clemson, but I might not be able to travel to California. And he was like, you're not even coming to Clemson. Stay home. We'll figure it out. Just make sure, you know, because I have the Clemson scout too. So he's like, just do the Clemson scout and make sure one of the guys on staff, you know, can help you and kind of move forward. So I appreciate him for that.
Okay, that's awesome. So any minute, Griff might leave like right now.
Yeah, Griff might. I'm gonna get through this because if she goes in right now, I know it's gonna be a couple, you know, maybe an hour or two where I can kind of buy time.
If your phone starts going crazy at some point during the next 10, 15 minutes, then we'll know something's up.
Yeah, I might not even feel it because it's in my pocket and I have it on not ring. So you know what? So it could be a bad thing because I can be cursed out after this.
You can? No, there's no can there. I'll 100% it for you on that one, Griff. All right, so this has got to be weird for you, right? Like you're going to be watching the game tonight without being there and not being able to do anything about it.
Yeah, very, very weird. But you know what? I got all the confidence in the world of our staff and obviously our players, but more so our staff because we got a good staff together, and those guys are very good in what they do. And you know what? It's just next man up.
Yeah, and here you go, coming in off the win on Saturday against Notre Dame. That I don't know what you guys were thinking about 10, 15 minutes into that game, but it was like, what is going on here? What changed that Saturday?
You know what? Let's first, you know, say, you know, Notre Dame played well.
Yeah,
they did a really good job of really attacking our defense and really putting us in certain situations. And you know what? The adjustments was, you know, Coach challenged our guys. You know, he brought us not just the kids, but he brought our whole staff and everybody, and he looked at everybody, coaches included, and said, "Hey, listen, who can guard him? Who's going to guard him?" And that was about Burton. Who can guard him? And that was the question.
Yeah, I'd say the name wasn't necessary on Saturday, right?
No.
He had 22 at halftime.
Yeah, the name didn't even be mentioned, right? And he asked us, he said, who can guard him? And, you know what, guys took that as a challenge. And then, you know, obviously the rest is history. They really stepped up, you know, and big kudos to, like, Kyle Cuff, who did a really good job, and obviously Lucas. But I think the unsung hero of it all, low-key, was JC in terms of how he guarded Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
He did not give him the looks that he got in the first game, which I think made the difference.
Yeah, you look at Braden Shrewsbury. He had 6 threes against you last year. He had 6 in the first game this year. He only took 4 on Saturday. And right, because you had Cuff on Burton, but it was Carlos on Shrewsbury basically the whole second half.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, and the good thing is like, you know, what balanced it out was, you know, down there, Davis played really well, and they didn't have Burton. So, you know, this game, Burton played really well, but we were able to neutralize Shrewsbury.
Right.
We were able to take Shrewsbury out of the game. And, you know, a big thing was, you know, JC. JC did a phenomenal job on him, and then not a lot of people are talking about that. And that's the biggest key to the game to me, because I watched him for, you know, I did the scout, so I watched him a lot more than anybody. And when he plays well, they're a different team.
I don't know how many games size-wise you can get away with that, right, with having Jaquan and Cuff out there like that, but it just worked out exactly the way you needed it on Saturday.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't measure, you know, the height. You got to measure the heart, right? And I just think that both those guys play with a lot of heart, and especially in that game there, they did a phenomenal job in neutralizing the two biggest keys for Notre Dame.
Yeah, let's talk about Kyle Cuff here a little bit, because Red said something, I don't know, a few weeks ago that was like, okay, initially we needed a little juice, right? And then he's like, well, he's playing well. we need him on the court. Yeah, he's bringing juice, but he's actually playing well. Like, right now, you toss him, it's like, okay, go lock up that guy. And he's like, oh, all right, I'll go lock up that guy. Yeah,
and you know what? The crazy thing is, on top of that is he's shooting the three well.
Yep.
And you know, the biggest thing is he's making free throws.
10 to 10.
Yeah, making free throws. And Kyle is smart, right? Because, and I said this to somebody, I don't know who I was saying this to, is that Kyle looked at our roster and said, you know what? I'm going to do what the rest of these guys are not willing, that is not on the top of their agendas to do. And that's play defense and be a scrappy kid and stuff like that. And he's doing that. And you know what? That resonates with our staff and obviously Coach Autry and Coach is like, you know what? He's willing to do it. That's what we need to do. That's going to help us win. And that's why he's playing.
Have you noticed it being like catching it all too? Like since he started doing it, like other guys, like, all right, well, we better, if this guy's doing it, we better do some of this too.
Yeah, but you know what? Also, too, Brian, is like, you know, Kyle, he has a pulse in the locker room.
Yeah.
Right? And guys like him, you know, and he has a voice on the court. And sometimes it matters. Most of the time it matters. Let me not say sometimes. Most of the time it matters when it comes to player to player, more so than coach to player, right? And when your peers hold you responsible, it's a different feeling, and I think that's what Kyle does.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much you can or want to say about this, but the one weird play last game, like Chris Bell's on the fast break with Kyle. Kyle gets fouled. Chris obviously was unhappy the ball didn't get him. He's screaming out, I don't know what, and Kyle goes up to him. What goes on when you're a coach observing that in moments like that?
You know, obviously you watch that play out. Like you don't want to get involved in that because again, it's player to player. But then you kind of go to the situation where you go to the kid and you say, hey, listen, Kyle, you gotta pick your head up in transition. You gotta make that play, and you gotta let Chris know that you made that. But also, too, Chris, you can't be that sensitive because it's certain situations where you miss certain guys as well, right? So you can't say like, oh, you're perfect, and he can't, you know. So so you just gotta you address the both of the situations and just say, hey, listen, you know, let's just move on and let's try to win a basketball game.
Is it important too? You mentioned that the players like do something first, right? So you don't have to go in and be like, all right, guys, and do the whole thing, right, as a coach.
Yeah, definitely. If you watch our bench, Brian, like, us as assistants, we're trying to hurry the guys into the huddle so that Red could talk to them, so he has a lot more time to talk to them, because as they're walking off, as they're running off, they're talking to one another. So, you kind of got to let it happen because it's going to happen naturally. And then obviously you address it when you can.
Yeah, it was fascinating to watch all that play out. And then, a guy like Cuff, right, you say he's got a pulse on the locker room. You always wonder, like, is it better or does it even matter? Like, sometimes when your best player is like your guy and your leader, it's obvious, right, where the gravitational force is. Right. It's got to be a little different. Like, Kyle's not the best player of the team. No. He doesn't think he is. Nobody thinks he is. But if he can do that and take some of the burden off of a JJ or whatever, it's a different way that feels like it can work.
Yeah, definitely. But the one thing that the experience that Kyle has in college that nobody on our staff has had, no one. He's won a national championship.
That's true.
He's seen it. He's felt it. He's been a part of it. He's been in it. And nobody on our in our program has experienced that. And that's where I think a lot of guys, our guys understand that, Brian, and they know it. And I think, like, outside of our practices and outside of our practice facility, I think that's where I think a lot of the guys respect him because they understand and they know, like, he's been a part of something special.
Clemson tonight. How many words are you going to say that you can't say on the radio while you're watching this on TV? How fired up is Griff watching on TV going to be?
It's going to be 25 F-bombs, but good or bad.
I'd say
right?
that's less than one a minute. That's not terrible.
Yeah, good or bad. But I think the one thing that I'm really looking forward to is to see if our guys take the fight to them, right? I think, in previous years, Clemson has been very physical with us and dominant in terms of, the physicality battle. And I just think that we have a team that can match that now. And hopefully we get to see that tonight.
Feels like Jair is huge tonight specifically, right? I mean, I realize Eddie, but they have and we think Shefflin's not their center, right? He's their four. So it feels like Jair against a bigger guy tonight's got a huge responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, and this is where, when you look back at last year's game, and I'll make the comparison, like last year's game with Malik, he was by himself,
right,
to a certain degree. Where now,
you didn't have somebody for Shefflin last year.
No, you don't. And now this year you do have Peter, you have Eddie, you have Jair, and then in the background you have Naeem, right? So you got four guys that can, that you could put out there and hopefully neutralize that and battle with these guys. So I'm actually really looking forward to seeing that part of the game. I don't care about the threes. I don't care about who can make plays off the dribble. I care about that, that battle inside. I think that's the key.
Yeah, I mean, we know they make threes. They're leading the league in three-point percentage right now. Chase Hunter feels like he's made a step this year, right? Like he's been in college forever.
Yeah, he seemed like he's been in college longer than Joe Girard. So it's been
that's
a long
actually
time.
This is his sixth year. This is actually
it's a long time.
They were freshmen the same year.
Yeah.
He's still there.
Yeah. So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So
how good is he right now?
Very good. Yeah. High level. And, just when you think that he's not playing well, especially in Pittsburgh, he, down the stretch, he made some huge plays.
Yeah.
So, he's a big key to them and a big key to their program right now. And we got to do the job on him.
How do you handle this stretch here? I know you guys try to take it one at a time, but you got this, you got Pitt, then the West Coast trip, which is tough just with the travel, and then Duke's looming on the back of that 2 weeks from tonight. How do you handle mentally the stretch here?
Thank you, ACC.
Yeah.
Thank you. Really, seriously. But that's what playing big-time basketball is, and you look forward to moments like this, and I think our guys will be up for the task. But, again, like, the one thing is that it's just a game-by-game deal for us, and we can't look past nobody. And we got to, every game that we play is our Super Bowl. Meaning, like, we want to win it. We got to prepare to win it. And how we prepare is like our last game, and it's like the biggest game. So it's our Super Bowl, and that's just what it is, and that's what it is.
If you want to, I'll give you a stat here if you want to be mad at the ACC.
Yeah.
Syracuse is the only school in the league that the men have the West Coast trip, the women have the West Coast trip, and the football team had to go West Coast. Only team.
Yeah.
Just, by happenstance.
Yeah.
Not Carolina, not Duke.
Of course. It's like...
I realize everyone's going to end up there the same amount of times, but just the first year, ship them all out there.
Let's punish that team up north.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it is. We're Southern Conference, but let's punish that team up north.
It's very weird. You play 0 regular season games in North Carolina this year.
Yeah.
You're in Florida twice, Texas, and California for 2 games.
Yeah.
It's
way to hit the travel budget too, right?
I'd say like, man, you load them all like. Oh, it's the same number of road games. Yeah, it costs more when you fly farther because you got to put more gas in the plane.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's and then you're going out there with 2 teams that's very good.
Yeah, like, Stanford just beat Carolina.
Yeah, and then and Cal is a good team. So like it's and this is not. I'm not just putting the blame on the ACC. I mean the ACC, but it's the conference. It's what's going on in college basketball today, and you just you just got to deal with it. Like I follow basketball and I look at coaches. I'm a fan of a lot of coaches around the country, and obviously one of them is Mick Cronin, and Mick Cronin, he's been in the media for speaking out, which I get it, and you know what, and I appreciate him saying it. as a coach, right? But also too, like he's 100% right in terms of travel. Like,
man, UCLA, I can't even imagine their travel this year.
Oh, dude, like him coming back east, he got to play 3 or 4 games east, and everybody else got to go out to the West Coast one time. He got to come back 3 or 4 times, right? So it's the same thing with us. We got a week-long trip out in California, which is tough to deal with, but I think it's just what we got to deal with, and we got to move on. No need for excuses or anything.
Yeah, we saw, I think both Cal and Stanford won games in Carolina this last week, right?
Right.
Stanford beat UNC and Cal beat, they beat NC State.
NC State,
yeah.
Yep.
So that's, anytime you can do that and get any win is impressive. All right, Griff, what decides it tonight? What do you think we're going to be talking about at the end of the game?
I think it's the war inside. Obviously, Clemson has great guards. Clemson is, coached by a very good coach, but I just think that whoever wins the inside battle wins the game, and that's from rebounding to scoring in the paint.
Yeah, it feels like this could be a rumble inside kind of game, and whoever rumbles the most has the best chance.
And you know what? If you look at it, when we establish our inside presence, we're a different team.
All right, Griff, pre-congratulations to you. Next week we'll have a baby girl to talk about?
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. Baby Brooklyn.
There we go. There we are.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Okay, so you're not naming it after me. No,
I can't. But at least she has the same first letter.
All right, I'll take the initial.
B, and we're going to call her B.
Okay.
So, yeah. So,
all right. I feel good about that then.
Yeah, good.
I'm glad I've been consulted on this. Man, congrats. Thanks for popping by today.
Yep, definitely.
There's our guy, Alan Griffin. We'll take a break. Your call's next, 315-437-7644. Amanda Kristovich from Front Office Sports joins us next hour to talk about all the crazy stuff in the business of the college sports world right now. We're back after this here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.